Beautiful ball fake and the pass.
And it's saved. 3 seconds left. Here's Van Exel. This is for the win. He got it.
Van Exel looks down on left to right hand. He comes smiling back. He's got a bag of tricks, doesn't he?
Welcome back to Nick Van Exel's Greatest Games, where we go back in time and relive Nick's finest games of his career. In today's episode, we travel back in time to January the 18th, 2005 to watch the Portland Trail Blazers face the Sacramento Kings. Played in Sacramento's Arco Arena, Nick would score 30 points along with 8 assists in this overtime thriller. Nick would hit an incredible 3 to force overtime, but the Kings would prove too strong in the OT. Sit back and enjoy as we take you back in time here on Van Exel TV.
It's the Kings and the Trailblazers. Let's get you out to Arco for the tip.
The Blazers and the Kings that have really had some unbelievable games. The last 12 innings, it's been split, and 6 decided by 6 points or less. You see the multiple overtime games. So Kings and Blazers, they normally play very exciting basketball right down to the wire. Ron Garretson, Bill Kennedy, Zach Zarber, the officials working the ball game here this evening from Sacramento.
Well, as Maurice Cheek said, certainly that front line presents a lot of defensive problems for the Kings. Brisbella, Theo Ratliff, Patterson, all outstanding defensive players and shot blockers.
Sacramento has the ball, and they'll also have it to start the fourth quarter. And Stoudemire has to chase to the timeline. And the shot clock now at 10 seconds for Ruben Patterson. Nice defense by Stojakovic to cut him off. And we've seen that before. Nick Van Exel from downtown, and it's a one-point game.
Yes, sir. Nick Van Exel. We've seen it before, and we'll see it again.
Brad Miller. And he continues with the struggling from the perimeter. That not even close, Jerry. Wide open 17 feet away.
Yeah, definitely. He's just not even shooting the ball like comfortably like he once did. That ball was kind of thrown in the general direction, but he's such a good shooter. I don't really know what's happened, but against this big and mobile front line, especially a defensive-oriented front line, Brad needs to make that shot.
Van Exel with the first 5 points for Portland. They've got the lead. And Ruben Patterson knocks it out of the hands of Stojakovic with 8 to shoot.
Now watch Nick Van Exel. The quickness explodes by Mobley, and nobody can get there in time.
There's Mike Bibby from 18 feet away. Rims out. And it will be Theo Ratliff running it down for Portland. Blazers 2 of 7, Sacramento 1 of 4. Oh, nice pass to Ratliff from Van Exel. And it's a 3-point Portland lead.
Well, Theo Ratliff at 6'11", very mobile, and Nick Van Exel just threw it up in the general area of the rim, and Ratliff went and got it.
Here's Stoudemire, now Mobley. Drops back now Van Exel, and Van Exel hits the 3, and Van Exel has 8 first quarter points.
Well, you can see the Portland, the guards just run off of screens, spread the floor, look for their shots, try to create offense for the 3 big guys.
Mike just letting Damon know who's the best player out of Arizona.
He just wanted to remind him,
right.
Saying, you know, I'm number 1 Wildcat, you're number 2 or 3.
Oh, Van Exel just walked right in there.
I mean, Nick Van Exel is quick. I'm not sure he's that quick.
No.
He definitely shouldn't be able to get through every white shirt.
10 for Van Exel. Well, Nick Van Exel, if you had an all-opponent team, he'd be probably first or second on it from the Kings' viewpoint. And Jerry, when you talk about Nick Van Exel, you're just talking about a guy that just tortures them every time they meet.
Well, I mean, mainly because he can do these kinds of things. Goes, fakes left, goes right, gets all the way to the basket. You already saw the 3, just penetrates a little stutter step and throws the ball up, lets Theo Ratliff get it. Now finds Damon Stoudemire, who kicks back for another long ball. Nick Van Exel can score every way that can be, and the ball is just his for the owning as he gets all the way to the basket one more time. Kings do not have an answer for Nick Van Exel tonight. Don't seem to have ever had an answer. You see the 2003 playoffs versus Dallas, 25 points. 52% from the floor, 45 from
Yeah, he
three-point.
won the series all by himself pretty much.
I mean, he was a monster.
Keep your eye on Mo Evans and Ruben Patterson going for the ball off the glass. Bibby, a corner three. And it's taken away by Van Exel. And Van Exel makes it to Patterson to 23-16 game. Van Exel setting up Ruben Patterson, and Kings playing giveaway there. And for Sacramento, it's their third turnover.
That's not the stat they look for.
Rick Adelman felt that Brad Miller did not pick up his pivot foot. Van Exel, and that's a two-pointer. Nick Van Exel has 12 on 5 of 8 shooting.
Well, you get a feeling that for the Kings to win this ball game, they're going to need to make some long balls.
Van Exel with that patented runner with the left hand. And to win this ball game, they're probably going to have to hope that Van Exel starts missing some shots. He has 14 on 6 of 9 shooting.
Yeah, you're not going to keep him from getting shots. He's just too versatile.
Brad Miller attacks the basket, and he's fouled.
Boy, a very strong move by Brad Miller.
Oh, Brad Miller, and Miller with a 360 spinning layup, and it's a 6-point game. Look out, Anderson. He's 1 on 4. Van Exel from 24 from downtown, no. And Van Exel runs it down. Van Exel. Nick Van Exel was 16 here in the first half.
Well, Nick really just out-hustled Mike Bibby for that ball. I mean, Mike had about 15 feet to go for it. Nick had about 20.
And Bibby with the miss. Nine seconds left. Van Exel was 16 here in the first half. Stojakovic on him. Van Exel. Only Nick Van Exel can do that. I'm telling you, Jerry, he's just unbelievable, isn't he?
He absolutely is a marvel. He is Nick the Quick.
And every time the Kings see Van Exel, he strikes. And he struck for 18 in the first half.
Now highlights from our first half game that you've been watching. Cuttino Mobley and Nick Van Exel sharing a little love before the Kings entertain the Trail Blazers. And Chris Webber with the steal. Long outlet pass to Cuttino Mobley. Chases it down. Makes a no-look pass to Mike Bibby. And you know he's going to score. Bibby, 12 first half points. Portland was up 12-10 though. Now Van Exel using the screen. Drives down the lane. Inside for the layup. Blazers were up 23-20. At the end of one quarter. Second quarter of action now. Ruben Patterson gets the steal. He's going to go all the way inside for the layup. Peter Patterson got the start. He had 25 points against Minnesota the other night, but it didn't end up with a victory for the Trailblazers. They were up by 7 here. Kings on the move now. Maurice Evans soars in, throws down a monster slam. Oh, please take a look there. High and getting it done. Evans all smiles with the Band-Aid there. All right, Nick Van Exel is going to try to get the 3 to go. Three's not good, but Nick Van Exel, you got to be able to stick with it, don't you? And he does exactly that and gets the bucket there. And right now, he had a big bucket. Matter of fact, the last bucket of the first half belonged to Nick Van Exel, and his club up by 3 at the break, 50-47. Now, it's been a very tough going for them. 18 first half points for him. Bibby with 12 so far. Trailblazers wrapping up their 6-game road.
Ruben Patterson and Nick Van Exel that did most of the damage here in this first half.
All right, so here we go, the leading scorers. And you see Bibby with 12 and the rest of the Sacramento Kings chipping in for the Portland Trailblazers. Obviously, Van Exel with 18 and Patterson with 13. The Blazers will have the ball to start the second half. And a backcourt of Stoudemire and Van Exel. Patterson up front with Ratliff and Joel Przybilla. Another capacity crowd on hand here at Arco Arena. And with 24 minutes left, the Blazers again with their first chance, and the clock did not start. So Van Exel will have to go back and do it all over again. And he missed. How about that? That's the Van Exel missed.
Well, that's the bad news is he don't have to shoot on that basket anymore. So don't know if we can count that, but certainly Cuttino Mobley. Again, the clock doesn't start, so maybe we can wear Nick Van Exel out, just going back and forth here for a while.
And he made that one.
He made that one and wanting to get a 3 for it. Nick enjoys himself. And when you can play as well as he can, you have to be able to enjoy yourself.
That was bothered by Theo Ratliff, and Portland quickly down to Ruben Patterson. And Van Exel with the running one-hander. Van Exel. 60-56.
Little change of position, that running left-hander by Nick Van Exel. Just shows you a little of everything.
Van Exel leading all scores. Boy, Stojakovic has certainly been well guarded, hasn't he? And that's blocked. Mobley, and a three. Cuttino Mobley from the corner. 1 point game.
Well, that's one shot blocked, it turns into a three. And sometimes that's why sometimes shot blocking is overrated right there.
And now another three by Damon Stoudemire. So the teams, many of those games decided by 6 points or less. Several of those contests going into overtime. And yeah, the Kings have a much better record than Portland, but these two teams normally go right down to the wire. And there's a three ball by Damon Stoudemire, and it's 71-67.
Yeah, that's what happens. One guy gets heated up, the defense overreacts to that player and leaves someone else open. Right now, Damon Stoudemire is the guy that's killing.
Oh my goodness, Damon Stoudemire is on fire.
Give him a little rest.
Well, Van Exel has only scored one basket here in the second half after 18 in the first half.
And but that scares you to death, doesn't it?
It sure does. After the timeout, Portland gets the ball inbounds, and it's Nick Van Exel. And Van Exel to make it an 89-82 game. So the Blazers break the drought with 7 minutes and 45 seconds left.
Got a little pressure here.
And there's Van Exel coming up with a steal, and Van Exel now calls a timeout. And now Portland, Jerry, for the rest of the ball game, will only have one timeout left. That could be a real big factor. 7 minutes and 36 seconds left, and the Blazers down to just one timeout. 89-82. Sacramento with the lead, but Portland will have the basketball. And the Kings turn it over, just as you said, Jerry. Van Exel, here's a three. You knew that was going in before he shot it.
Absolutely did. Cuttino trying to split the double team, wasn't able to, and of course allows Nick Van Exel to get out in transition. And the Kings,
Stoudemire and Van Exel.
Now watch as Cuttino tries to split the double team, not able to. It looks like Theo Ratliff knocked the ball loose. Here's Nick, says, this is as far as I need to go. And Nick said, hey, leave me open from three, you're going to pay the price.
And a timeout with 4:54 left here in the fourth quarter.
And C-Webb showing you that excellent free throw stroke that he's developed over the last several years.
Kings' last field goal came at the 7:02 mark here of the fourth. Right now, though, it's 96-93.
Well, a little heat on the Blazers now. They really must score this trip.
Van Exel. Again to Prisbilla, and see, that's where you got to foul him. I don't understand that. Why would you let that guy walk in and dunk the ball?
Well, I don't know either. Brad Miller had a great chance to foul him while he's on the floor.
96-95.
Damon Stoudemire, the exact same.
There he is. Stoudemire looking to tie the game. Short. Prisbilla has it back for Stoudemire. Prisbilla, and he played catch. This for the tie. Boy, the Kings get a break there. Van Exel downtown. Nope. Three misses from beyond the arc. And now the foul on Theo Ratliff. 13.2 left. Well, I think that's a great foul there because you cannot allow. Look at Gavin Maloof down on his.
I think Gavin's
seat
down
of his pants.
Down to the ground.
How do those miss? I mean, really, they all had good looks, Jerry.
Well, these are great shooters with good looks. Sometimes you can't make it, but everybody wants these Damon Stoudemire, Nick Van Exel to get open looks. They got them. They couldn't hit them.
Ratliff at the line. Nope, he's not a good free throw shooter as well. Theo Ratliff with one more upcoming. Ratliff on the year, just a 67% shooter.
Well, the Kings better focus on getting the rebound. Not a good free throw shooter. Ball comes off a little funny. And, of course, that's a tough thing about rebounding missed threes. They come off long and they come off hard sometimes.
Boy, this place had a fever pitch. I can't believe that's not a lane violation on Weber. Patterson. Van Exel, we're tied.
Well, when you can't rebound, very difficult to stop a team.
Did they say that was a two-pointer? I can't believe that. I thought Van Exel for sure was beyond the line. They have only put 2 on the scoreboard, and the Blazers want to talk it over with the officials. Now that's clearly a 3 from that angle. And it is. They give him a 3. It's 100 to 100. Van Exel does it again. A 3-ball to tie the game at 100.
Well, the Trailblazers had all the chances they could possibly stand. Patterson gives Nick Van Exel one more look from the deep corner, and Nick the Quick wasn't going to disappoint again. You see the missed shot. You see Patterson inside of Brad Miller gets the miss, and there's Nick Van Exel clearly behind the line for the 3. Kings simply could not rebound the basketball, had about 5 or 6 chances, which would have meant the game, couldn't get it done.
Hey, when you give Van Exel and Stoudemire 4 threes in the final 30 seconds of the game, they're going to make at least one of those. I mean, that's the way it is.
And that's exactly what happened. Nick Van Exel, 28 points on 12 of 23. Now the Kings, 8.6 seconds, certainly should get the last shot. Have a chance to draw a foul as well to get to the line. Most likely the ball will go through Chris Webber. You've got some excellent shooters here. Peja Stojakovic has not been a factor. Ruben Patterson has taken him out of the game. Cuttino Mobley or Mike Bibby would probably have the best chances of getting open.
Bibby. Webber from downtown. And we will go to overtime. The Blazers call a timeout, but there's only 0.3 of a second left. Remember when Ruben proclaimed himself as the Kobe stopper? Well, Kobe went out and scored 40 on him, I think, the next night, but he has been the Peja stopper this evening.
Well, nobody's a Kobe stopper every night.
No.
Some nights, you might slow him down, or some nights Kobe might slow himself down, but great players find ways to score.
Orland's got to feel very fortunate right now that they're playing in overtime. They made a great comeback, and now it's Patterson against Stojakovic. Ruben Patterson now to Van Exel. Van Exel. And Van Exel makes it 102 to 100. Van Exel has 30.
Well, just getting into the paint, so creative once he gets there, has a lot of ways to score the ball.
Discomfort.
Watch Nick Van Exel, a little ball fake, gets him into the paint. Nobody comes to help. Brad Miller shows like he will see Webb, and then just a little hang time by Nick Van Exel to get the hoop. Now the great pass from Cuttino Mobley. Theo Ratliff hurt on the other end, and I think that's why I see Ratliff was wide open. Theo Ratliff not in the play.
Well, what a ball game tonight from Sacramento. Glad you're with us here on Comcast Sportsnet and our national audience watching it on NBA TV. Grant Napier and Joey Reynolds here from Sacramento in the first meeting of the year between the Kings and Blazers, coming right down to the wire in overtime. Derek Anderson, he just checked in, looking for Van Exel. A 3 from the corner, no good. Webber with a big rebound. And he is fouled, Chris Webber. Van Exel, tough shot, hit iron. And Patterson at the horn. And it's all over. In overtime, Sacramento behind Webber's 32. Beats the Trailblazers. Van Exel had 30 and a happy Gavin Malou. Sacramento in overtime, 113, Portland 107.